Good evening, everyone. And very, very welcome to everyone from platform of ABNA. ABNA Alberta chapter, it is related to Association of Physicians of Pakistani Descent of North America, which is the third largest medical association in the United States. ABNA was the founding in 1976 in Michigan, USA, and currently represented more than 20,000 physicians and health professionals of Pakistani descent in North America, including over than 300 members in Canada. ABNA has more than 3,500 active physician members. ABNA has 38 chapters and 16 alumni across North America. It is dedicated to support scientific development and education in medicine and delivering better health care, regardless of race, creed, or gender. For me, I would like to introduce myself. I'm Dr. Isra Yahya. I will be your moderator today. I obtained my Doctor of Dental Surgery degree in 2015 from Azawiya University in Libya. And I started practicing as a general dentist from 2016 until 2019. While I came to Canada. For me, I also practiced all aspects of general dentistry, and also I was work as a dental office manager. I trained several number of intern dentists to help them to achieve their goals. Before formally begin our program, I would like to invite the president of ABNA Alberta chapter, Dr. Yassin, to say a few words. Actually, Dr. Saad Yassin is the founding member and current president of Alberta chapter of ABNA, Association of Physicians of Pakistani Descent of North America. Dr. Saad Yassin graduated from Karachi, Pakistan, and completed his family medicine training from England in 2005. Mashallah, he has been practicing as a family physician for over 17 years, including in Calgary for the past 10 years. Dr. Saad Yassin is a clinical assistant professor at Cummings School of Medicine, University of Calgary. He is also a member of Virtual Education Committee and Membership Advisory Committee of Alberta College of Family Physician. Now, Dr. Saad Yassin, he will speak here. Assalamu alaikum, Doctor.
Walaikum salam. Thank you very much, Dr. Isra Yahya, for your kind introduction of ABNA Alberta chapter and myself. I want to add that ABNA Alberta chapter is striving to provide a platform to all the IMGs, dentists, physicians, and allied healthcare professionals. We are doing it by providing them resources that is needed in order to achieve their goal, which is getting the license and integrating into the Canadian medical system. So I wish you all the best for your future endeavors and hope that you achieve your goals. And I would like to thank Dr. Isra Yahya, who is our moderator on this program, and our two esteemed speakers, Dr. Zohaibuddin and Dr. Hakeem Qureshi. Thank you so much for your time on a busy schedule, and especially Sunday afternoon, which is your family time. So once again, thank you so much. Back to Dr. Isra Yahya.
Thank you so much, Dr. Saad Yassin. It is very nice to hear from you. And now I would like to invite our first speaker tonight, Dr. Mohammed Zuhaibuddin. Dr. Mohammed, could
Hello
you?
everyone. Assalamu alaikum. How are
Walaikum
you?
salam.
Yeah. So thank you. Like first of all, I would like to thank Dr. Saad, Apna Dr. Iswayaya, and Apna Alberta chapter for inviting me to present in this webinar. So what I'm just gonna do is I'm gonna share my screen, and if somebody can let me know, everybody can see my full presentation.
Yes, we can see. Go
Okay,
ahead.
perfect. So a little bit about the introduction about myself. So I am like basically a proud internationally trained dentist with my bachelor's degree in dental surgery in 2007 from Karachi, Pakistan, Bahria University. I practiced then as a general dentist from 2007 to 2013 before I decided to move to Canada. I also serve as a faculty member at Department of Prosthodontic at Ziauddin University in Pakistan. I successfully completed my NDB equivalency process in 2020 and got my license in 2020. And since then, I've been practicing in Calgary as a general dentist at Canyon Creek Dental Clinic in Calgary. I like practice all aspect of general dentistry and also have certification in intravenous conscious sedation from University of Alberta, both 1 and 2 drugs. Okay, So today what I'll be like presenting is basically about the how to practice in Canada and pathways to license and how to obtain funding. That's mostly where I will be like covering the part of the pathways and how to obtain the funding. Okay. So many objective of my presentation is by the end of this part, the listener will be able to know the pathway and the process for the entry to the practice. Also, they would have access to the resources for obtaining funding for the process, which is like a huge help when you're like looking because these exams are quite expensive. A little bit about it, what will be covered is going to be like introduction, then I'll run through about the equivalency process, part of it, and the resources and the funding. So basically, like if you see in Canada, first of all, you have to understand in Canada, the accreditation is determined by the Commission of Dental Accreditation of Canada, CDAC. So there are two types of it. One are the graduate of the accredited dental program. So basically between Canada, United States of America, Ireland, and Australia, New Zealand, and King Fahd University of Saudi Arabia, they have a mutual agreement. So anyone who's graduate or from one of these university or the accredited dental program of one of these countries, they can practice anywhere among these. So these are all called accredited dental program. So basically graduate of accredited dental program are individual who have completed an undergrad dental program offered by a university dental institution that has been recognized by the Commission of Dental Accreditation of Canada. So like if you are a graduate of an US, from Australia, from New Zealand, and from Ireland, you can practice anywhere. Or in Canada, you can like go, you just have to apply for the license, provincial regulatory body, and you can progress. Then there are people who's like other than those countries, these are like dental programs that are not recognized by CDAC and is considered to be non-accredited. So the regulatory body that determine these things and like provide the pathway is called NDB, which is the National Dental Examination of Board of Canada. So the NDB define a non-accredited dental program as a dental degree program from a university that is authorized by the government in the country where it's located. Like, well, let's say if you take an example of Pakistan, I am a graduate of Pakistan. So if my program is recognized in Pakistan, I'm a dentist there, but when I come over, I can here in Canada, this is not recognized. So I'm supposed to be a non-accredited dental program. So for non-accredited people, which is like our goal today, is to like most of our internationally trained dentists are non-accredited and they have to like go through a equivalency process. So basically, any individual who hold a DDS, DMD, or BDS degree from a non-accredited dental program must follow one of the two pathways. One is called the NDB equivalency process. This is like a direct licensing pathway, which includes 3 examinations. And if you like successfully complete all 3 examinations, you can be equivalent to a Canadian graduate, which is like graduated right from the university, and you can apply for the certification province in any of the province of the Alberta. Or what you can do is you can like apply for the qualifying degree completion program offered by Faculty of Dentistry in Canada. So there are only 8 dental schools in Canada, and I think 6 or 7 of them only have these programs. So this is like, I think you also have to give one of the exam of the equivalency process. Now things are changing. Some universities don't require it. You have to give DAT, which is dental college admission test or aptitude test, and you get a score and you apply to the college for that. The thing is, you have to like, they have a integrated program where you are like placed in advance into the 3rd year into the dentistry, and then you get a like DDS degree from Canada. So we'll be focusing more on the equivalency process because our goal today is to like cover the equivalency process. So successful completion of the examination allow the individual to move to the next step, which is NDB certification. One thing I also want to know is, so NDB process, they also has a collaboration with the New Zealand Dental Council. So anybody who just clear NDB equivalency process is also eligible to practice as a dentist in New Zealand. Because for even if a person like who's a dentist and he want to go and practice in New Zealand, he also has to go through the equivalency process. So for us, equivalency process, we had an option of practice in Canada as well as New Zealand. And I remember the last time there are 3 states of this, 3 states in United States that we can practice. I don't know if they have changed those things. So what the equivalency process is? Well, equivalency process, the first thing is it comprises of 3 parts, and it's like a step ladder thing. So you have to clear 3 exams, and you have to clear 1 exam before the other. Previously, it was different, but now what it is, you have to create your profile. You have to give your first assessment of fundamental knowledge exam, which is a theory-based exam. Then you have ACJ, which is called assessments of clinical judgment exam, which is like they check your diagnosis ability and interpretation of the radiograph. And the 3rd exam is called NDECC, which is National Dental Exam for Clinical Competency. This will be mostly covered in detail by Dr. Abdul Hakim Qureshi. So I'll mostly go about assessment of fundamental knowledge and ACJ and the funding process. So the first step is to go to the NDB website, and you see at the bottom of my slide, you have a link, which is ndbbned.ca equivalency process and how to apply. So you can go to the website ndb.ca and you can find all those information over there. So the first step you have to do is you have to create your online profile, and you have to review the required document and download the application, right? You have to consider that with every country, they have something requirement for each individual country. So make sure where you are graduated from, make sure you download the guide and see what your requirements for the documents are for that area. Then after that, you review everything and you gather all the application and you have all the documents ready. You can create your online profile, and what you can do is then submit your required document, and the application fee for this whole process is 900 Canadian dollar, which is one time and it's non-refundable. And once your profile is approved, normally now they take somewhere in between 6 to 10 weeks to get approval. Once you are approved, you are registered with the NDB, then you can go ahead and start taking exams. So the first exam, like I said, NDB equivalency process includes 3 examinations, which is assessment of fundamental knowledge, assessment of clinical judgment, and NDCC, which has 2 components, the clinical skills component and the situation judgment. Just these are 2 separate exams, but these are included in NDCC. So one day you just go and perform clinical component, and the other day you do situation judgment component. So it's a 2-day exam. Successful completion of these examination allow individual to move to the next step, which is NDB certification process. So what is assessment of fundamental knowledge? Basically, whatever you have studied in your 4 year of dentistry, the core theoretical knowledge, they test you for this exam. So basically, this is a test where biomedical science and applied clinical sciences knowledge has been tested of the participant. So AFK serves the dual purpose. Number one, like I said before, it is an admission requirement for some university, not every university, because now some university has started to obsolete AFK score and you don't need AFK to apply to the university, but it's still the majority of university, they need your AFK to be passed and you have to get a high score before applying to that program. It is one of the examination in the equivalency process, but it is also the first step after you're creating the profile, because now after creating the profile, the first exam that you have to give is assessment of fundamental knowledge. You should pass the exam before moving to the next exam. You cannot like jump and give another exam. So you have to pass this exam before you can continue to the other examination equivalency process. The format and content. Basically, the good thing is now this is mostly it is prometric. So you have multiple choices like the cities and stuff where you can give this exam. So previously you have to go to the Canadian dental schools. Like I said, there are only 80 schools and you have to book your spot over there, but now it's pretty convenient. So AFK consists of 200 single answer multiple choice question delivered in 2 parts. For each part, you have 2 hours to complete each part. AFK right now, because there was a pandemic and there's some technical issues with the NDB and there's a huge backlog of the dental candidates which are like waiting for the opportunity to sit for the exam. So right now what NDB is doing is offering the exam in 2 formats, which is electronic delivery at Prometric Center, but also a booklet format offered at selected exam size. AFK also uses single answer multiple choice question type. Each question has a value of 1 and the lower score for any question is 0. So either you get a 0 or you get 1. But the good thing is there's no negative marking for that one. Fee for this exam is 1,000 Canadian dollar. You have to get a test equated V-scale score of 75 or greater in order to pass this exam. Any score that is less than 75 is reported as fail, and you have a limit on this exam. You can only take this exam for the maximum of 3 times. If you don't clear it for the 3 times, then your option is gone. So be very wise and be prepared for the exam. Normally, it's not hard. Most of the people, they clear in first or second attempts. Second exam. So once you are done with the AFK, the next step is to go for clinical judgment exam. So the assessment of clinical judgment exam basically assess your ability to formulate a diagnosis and make clinical decision. They evaluate your knowledge in oral radiology and also ability to make a radiographic interpretation and diagnosis. Basically, the format and content, this is a very comprehensive exam where you've been given case-based histories of the patient along with pictures and radiograph, and you have to do certain diagnosis about those patients. So basically, it's a 5.5 hour exam, like 5.5 hour exam with one scheduled half an hour break in between. It consists of 120 to 150 single answer and multiple answer choice questions. So like they can give you case history. There can be, you have to read the question very well because in the question they will mention you have to select one best and you have to select multiple best. You have to be very careful with your answers because this exam has a negative marking. For any answer that you mark wrong, you're going to lose that question because of any wrong answer, the score is -1. So if you mark answer wrong, so here you have to be very strategically prepare and make sure you stay on the safe side and only mark the option that fits well and you are 100% sure of, and no guesswork, because if you answer any wrong answer like choice, it will make your score 0 for that question. So basically, it is exam right now, it is only administered electronically at per metric center across the cities in North America. Even you have like cities in United States, you can go and have this exam done there. The fee for this exam is Canadian dollar 1,350. Again, the test is equated rescale score of 75 or greater is reported at pass. If you score any score like less than that, it will be considered fail. And again, for this individual attempt, you also have a chance of to give it maximum 3 times. So these two exams, AFK and ECJ, you just have to understand it is only allowed for maximum of 3 times. If you couldn't clear this exam in 3 attempts, you are done with the process. But if you clear it, there's a good news moving forward for the NDCC. Okay, so normally what is included in the case-based diagnosis, treatment planning, clinical decision making, what they do is evaluate your ability to formulate a diagnosis and to make clinical decision making. Basically, they give you case histories, they give you dental charting, they give you radiograph images and photograph with every case. And there are some radiograph where they test your knowledge in oral radiology. So they give you radiograph and ask you what is there in the radiograph, multiple choice question. These are one of the trickiest thing because you only have to answer what you are 100% sure, because any guesswork might lead to make your question wrong with a negative marking. The third exam, now if you have cleared your AFK and you clear your ACJ, which is a clinical judgment, you are one step closer. And this is like the most comprehensive exam of all, which is called NDCC, which is stand for National Dental Equivalency, National Dental Exam for Clinical Competency. Basically, this will be covered more in detail by Dr. Abdul Hakim. I'll only go with the overview. So the purpose of NDCC is to assess the clinical competence of dentists that are trained in non-accredited program. This exam can only be taken in Ottawa. So now NDB has made a purpose-built facility in Ottawa where they offer. The good thing about this exam is this is offer multiple time areas. So once you are done with AFK and ACJ, you have like a whole year where you can go and look for the spot and book ahead in time. And right now, I know because of the pandemic, there's like so much backlogs and so much problems with registering for the exam. But as like time passes, things gonna get better. Good thing about this exam is here you have unlimited number of attempts. So there's no limit on the number of attempts, but there's a limit on the time period. So basically you have a 5 years of time period after clearing, and that time period is start when you clear your ACJ. So once you clear your ACJ, you have 5 years period, and at that time you can give unlimited number of attempts for ACS. Like I said, it is comprised of 2 components. One is clinical skill component, which Dr. Qureshi will go in detail, and is situation judgment component. And the fee for this exam is 9,000. So when you are just giving this exam first time, you have to give both the component together. But if you clear one component, you don't have to repeat that component. For example, let's say you clear situational judgment component, but you cannot clear clinical skill component. You just only have to repeat clinical skill component. So that's why first time when you're going to give this exam, it's going to cost you 9,000 Canadian dollar. But if you clear at least one of the component, and then if you have to repeat only one component, then the fee will be 4,500 for there. And like I said, it is all delivered throughout the year, right? So basically now, once you have cleared that exam, then the equivalency process is successfully completed. And now you are eligible to apply for certification process, which is like even the Canadian graduate basically also go through this process. So basically, if you clear your equivalency process, you become equivalent to a Canadian grad who is just graduated from a dental college. So you and like they are like equal. So all you have to do is like appear for the certification process. And basically, previously certification process was a 1-2 day exam. 1 day it was written examination, and 1 day was OSCE exam. But now since March 2023, they have changed it and they made it like a virtual OSCE, which is just a one exam and it's also prometric. The fee for this exam is now Canadian $2,000. It's a simulative examination that assesses the problem solving and critical decision making skill required for beginning as a dental practitioner in Canada. Exam are based on the knowledge skill abilities of beginning dental practitioner in Canada. Now they have named it as a virtual OSCE, so there's no written examination anymore. That written examination is already incorporated into a virtual OSCE exam. Once you clear this exam, it leads to certification, like you get NDB certification, which means you are authorized to practice in Canada. Now all you have to do, because in Canada all provinces and territories are independent, so they have all of them have their own regulated bodies. So you, whichever province you want to practice, you apply for the license for that province, and you just like provide them with the certification and just do ethics exam for that province, and you pretty much get your provincial licensure. The thing is, if you have a license in Alberta, you cannot go and practice in Toronto, because you need, if you want to practice in Ontario, you need to have an Ontario license. So it's not like Pan Canada license, like provincial based license. So every time you have to go is like apply for the, if you want to practice in multiple provinces, you have to apply for the individual license. So basically virtual OSCE consists of 200 questions, 50 standard single multiple choice answer, and 150 case-based questions. So that include photo, radiograph, chart, and other supporting material as well. Regarding the funding, because if you see, like you see the exams are so much expensive, and in my presentation, I have not like mentioned anything about the courses and stuff, because for preparation, there are like some organization that do courses, and you have to attend those courses, and you have to move to different cities too, because people feel like some courses are more organized than the other. So you have to consider the cost factor in that one. So it's like really lot of financial burden on the participant. But the good thing is now there's a funding for the equivalency process. So what you have to do is, like, if you want to get a funding, you can get up to like 120K. But the thing is, how you can get is like, first of all, you have to create your online profile with the NDB. Once you have created your NDB profile and you're ready for your AFK examination, what you can do is go to the Windmill micro lending website and apply for a Windmill loan from there. What you can get from them is 25,000 Canadian dollar. And all you need is, you need to show them you have a profile with the NDB and your profile is approved, and you need to show them you are registering for the AFK exam and you are doing a course. And they'll like, the process is really quick, hardly take like a week, and with all the things, and they give you the funding. So once you have that funding, you can go sit and start preparing for the exam. Once you clear this exam, the next step is to register, and like after you have got that lens, register and pass the assessment of fundamental knowledge. Once you pass the fundamental or like knowledge exam, now what you can do is you can provide them the proof of AFK completion that you have successfully passes. And now you can go to the CIBC website and you can search internationally trained dentists on CIBC. So you know what the process is. Then you can get a line of credit from the CIBC. All you have to show them is you have successfully completed AFK. Once you show them and apply for the line of credit, you will get a credit approval for line of credit up to 35,000 Canadian dollar. With that amount, you can register and pass the assessment of clinical judgment. Once you clear that exam, then you can go to bank again and provide them the proof of successful completion of fundamental knowledge and clinical judgment exam, and they can increase your clinic limit with another 50,000. So it's not like they will make it 50,000, but they will increase it by 50,000. So previously you have 35,000. Now with plus 50,000, you will add 85,000 Canadian dollar. Right. And then what you can do is you can go and start preparing, because for this exam, you have to buy your own instruments and material to practice. At the exam, NDB provides everything for it, but for practice, when you are doing it, you have to buy the stuff on your own. So those are quite expensive. So the third exam, when you have deadline of credit, you can register and pass for the next step on equivalency process. Once you complete a whole equivalency process, ND, CC, AFK, and ACJ, you can go again to the bank and provide them the proof that you have successfully completed everything, and now you are ready for the like OSCE and certification process. They will increase your credit limit to another 15,000. So it's make like up to a 6-figure mark, which is like 100K. And with that, you can like give your OSCE exam, apply for license and everything. And once you get it, and then they like consider you, because now you have that exam, you will have your NDB certification, so bank will increase your credit limit by another 15,000, and then you can register. And once you start like integrating into the practice, which Dr. Abdul Hakim again talk about how you can do that a little bit about it. It will be like you can pay off this line of credit or loan, whatever you call it, easily. Yeah, so I think Dr. Aswar, that was pretty much from me, and yeah.
Thank you so much, Dr. Zohaibuddin. You give us lots of important information. Thank you so much. Now I would like to invite our second speaker, and that Dr. Abdul Hakim Quraishi. Dr. Abdul Hakim, could you please introduce yourself?
Yeah, Assalamu alaikum, and hi everyone. Thank you very much, Dr. Isra Yahya and Dr. Saad Yassin for inviting me for this presentation. And I like to help to all those international trained dentists who are like to go for this process, and I'll be happy if I can be some help for them as well. Because I realized like when we moved in Canada, we didn't have many resources, and there was no one to guide us. But thank God that we completed the equivalency, and we are in practice now. And because it's really a kind of great satisfaction and proud that whatever we did back home, we are still in the same profession and serving the humanity, which was dentistry was my passion as well. So thank you very much. And I'm just wondering, are you able to see my screen or no?
Not yet.
Okay, let me see. I think I can. So how about now?
Yes.
Okay, and just so before I start my presentation, a little introduction myself. I did my basic graduation BDS, Bachelor of Dental Surgery, from Liaquat Medical College, Jamshedpur, in Pakistan. And then I was in general practice till 2007. And then I joined the master's program, MSc, at the Liaquat University of Medical and Health Sciences, Jamshedpur again. And I got my master's in operative dentistry in 2009. So after getting the specialization, I joined Ziauddin University as a senior faculty, initially senior registrar, and then I was promoted as an assistant professor. And I had a pleasure, to work with Dr. Zohaibuddin there, and we have been friends since then, and we are friends like brothers. So, but after moving in 2014, I was able to complete my equivalency in 2017, and in March 2018, I got my license. And since then, I have started practicing as a general dentist. And I had a chance to own my practice since 2021. So right now I'm working as a dentist and the owner of the clinic, practice, we offer all the services of general dentistry and family dentistry as well. So right now I'm working as a general dentist, and plus I'm also an instructor, with the Alberta Network of Immigrant Women for the International Dentists for the skill part. I try to share my knowledge and experience with them, once in a week it is, and I work with them for the international trained dentists as well. So I will be most of the topic was covered by Dr. Zuhaib regarding the process and all the overview and what are the parts of the exam. So mainly as I'm more related with the skill part, mostly I will be talking about it and I'll give you the idea. The other thing is I tried to provide you some knowledge about the resources which are available right now in Calgary and some of it in general, maybe in Canada as well. But maybe I won't be giving you the names of the institution, but I can say there are very good institutions who are offering the great courses, and you should look into those as well. Though there are some charges they charge for the fees, but it's right now you have some better resources to go through the process. The other thing is maybe I'll be giving you some idea, like being an immigrant and having dental qualification from back home, what professions you will be working until you get your license. So I'll be talking just a little bit about those things as well. So NDCC, which is like a National Dental Examination for the clinical competence, has the two kind of parts. So one is the skill part and the other is the situational judgment part. This exam is conducted on 2 days, and they have a facility in Ottawa now, where they offer this this exam, and the candidate has to go there and appear in the exam. So it could be like a different day, like one day you have to take the situational judgment and the other day it will be the skill, and one group will be taking the skill at the same time and the other group will be taking situational judgment. So this is how that works. So basically for the clinical skill, so right now with ANIW, I'm just teaching the clinical skill part, not the situational judgment, because there are many things which are changing and evolving on the daily basis. And honestly, being in a practice, it's a little bit hard to keep up with all those things, the knowledge. And the other thing is, I don't like to share anything which I'm not sure about my, the students, and I don't like to misguide them. Rather than I would say that I cannot do that, it's more better rather than giving them some, the false information and that. So that's why I think I'm better with the skill part. So that's why I just continue with the skill part. And the candidates now, there are many courses, though online and in person as well. And candidates have options to take that. So basically with the clinical skill part, it has the basic 7 skills which a candidate has to perform in the exam on one day. And the 8th one is considered as a cross infection, which you will be taking care while performing all the procedures. The other thing is these clinical procedures are performed on the artificial typodont. It's like an artificial plastic jaw, of the human being, but you have to perform on a typodont rather than on any live patient or anything. There are the protocols which you can find on the website of NDEB, and which describes procedure, everything in detail. And there are particular, there's a particular protocol for every exercise. What are their requirements? So I don't like to go in details, you can see it, and every skill has particular protocol and particular requirement. And the basically now they have made it more simplified in the 3 categories, and I'll talk about it later once I'll finish this thing, because they have put the criteria for the passing, and it is based on the 3 main categories. So these are the 7 skills which you can see on the screen. I have taken this picture from the NDB website, and you can see that basically you need to perform amalgam restoration, amalgam preparation, which you have to prepare a cavity, ideally for class 2 preparation is called, and then you have the amalgam restoration as well. They will provide you a prepared tooth, which will be pre-cut tooth, and then you have to do the restoration on that. And then there's a class 2 composite restoration, then class 4 composite restoration, and endodontic excess cavity preparation, then crown preparation. The other thing is the crown preparation, whatever you will do the crown preparation on the same tooth, you have to do the provisional restoration, and they will assess the restoration on that. So if your preparation is like, according to the protocol, you will have no difficulty with the provisional crown as well. So now there will be no other tooth except like, the one which you will cut, and you have to prepare the provisional restoration on it. And then the infection control, like, and the safety, they will be observing you while performing all these procedures, and you'll get the whole day to perform it around like, 7 to 8 hours, and you can take the breaks, but it depends how do you perform. And then the situational judgment is also like, kind of, they will judge your clinical abilities. And it's not only like that you will be getting the clinical situation and you have to answer the questions, but it's also like there will be the paid actors as well, and they will give you the clinical scenario. And they will be judging you on these mainly like, 5 categories, like how do you deal with the patient, and how's your professionalism, like dealing with the patient, and how do you like share the knowledge of the patient, or how do you refer the patient, and like that. And communication, collaboration, like if you have to write the prescription to the lab, and if you have to refer the patient, how do you like, proceed with those things. And then the practice management and like, information as well, like how do you deal with the staff and all those things, they will be looking at it. And then they will be also seeing like how do you promote the health promotion, like regarding the oral health access to the public. And if there's a like, particular patient from some particular group, then they will be judging you, how do you suggest them the oral health instructions, and how you can contribute in the like, the community health and dental health promotion. So as I was talking before, like there are the many, basically now like, 3 categories of passing and fail. So now instead of giving like, A, which was like, in previous exams, like A, D, and E categories, or A+ categories, now they have simplified it, making it like, if you are at the kind of A+ category, then it's a competent. And if you just make a little bit like, mistake, then they can put you, still they can make you pass, but still they will consider it as a minimum competent. But anything like, which is less than that will be non-competent, and they will fail you. The other worst thing is like, previously when there was a skill exam, there was some kind of leniency that you can make 2 E's out of like, 12 skills. But now there's no chance of making any mistake, or if you fail one exercise, then your whole exam will be considered as fail, and you have to take the whole exam again. But the good thing is like situational judgment and the clinical skill have been separate. So if someone passes the situational judgment, then they will be allowed to take the only like, the skill portion rather than the skill and situational judgment. So that's the good thing. But the like, minus thing is that if you fail one exercise, then you will be failing all the exam, like skill exam or the situational judgment. So you have to pass like, all the components or all the exercises of each exam to get through it. So this is the Alberta Network of Immigrant Women. You can Google it, and it's a very good organization in Calgary. And they are providing all the resources for all 3 exams free of cost. There's no cost for registration, there's no cost for classes, and they offer you the online classes for AFK, the basic like fundamental knowledge exam. They provide for the clinical judgment exam, and they for the skill exam, I'm like, providing the teaching for the skill exam. The only condition for this organization is to provide you the services is that either you should be a permanent resident, like immigrant permanent resident, or you should be a citizen. Because if someone is on like, visit visa or some other kind of the like, these visas, maybe they won't entitle you for that. But they are like, these services are available for anyone who is either citizen or a permanent resident. So this is one of our very good organization, and you can search their website, and you can send an email, and they can contact you, they can guide you further. The other things like, as when we came in, we didn't know like what we can do. but being in a practice since couple of years now, I can see, though this is a little bit difficult to get these jobs, but it's still like, you can do the dental management in any office or any clinic, and as a manager you can work there and you can manage the practice with them, though you need a little bit like knowledge about the softwares which we use, because like back home we don't have much of like those things in the practice, and now the time is changing, so there are some particular software which you need to know, like to do this job, and you can, but anyhow you can join the job without any license or like any other degree. Maybe you just need some like certification from some local colleges to have some idea and about like the software and the management, and then you can join as a manager. The other thing is, if you don't like to do anything, then you can work as an aesthetic technician in dental clinic. If there's a big setup like a big dental office, they can offer you this job without having any license. And being a dentist from like being an international trained dentist, you can also go for dental assisting license, but you have to like take one exam for it, and then perform some skills for the exam. So it's like kind of the same licensing procedure, but it's a little bit less like competent than the NDEB. So the other thing is you can work on it. And now like the other thing is, I must say, when we come in, like you rarely get some kind of encouragement. So I like to say to every international trained dentist that if I can do, you can do as well. There's not a like rocket science like that you can't do that. It's simply an exam, though it's a little bit hard exam, but it's an exam. So if you prepare yourself and if you are determined and you have a will, you can for surely do it. So there's nothing like to worry about it or to take it like way hard. It's just like an exam, and you will be also able to get it. And in the last, like I would be happy to take any questions if you have. And thank you very much once again, Dr. Saad and Apna and Dr. Isra, to give us a chance to present this presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Abdul Hakim. Quraishi, you give us lots of important information, especially about how we can put ourselves on the way that we have to do it on to practice it dental dentist in Canada. Thank you so much. And now I will open for the question. Actually, we have like 3 questions. First question, it is related to Dr. Zohaibuddin. We have here Shirad has said, which are the 3 states in the USA where we can practice?
Okay, so right now with every state, things changes. But like when I had the last information, it was like few years back. I know Minnesota, Colorado, and Washington was the state where we can go and practice. But again, now there's no information on it because every state's run independently and they always review the process. So I don't know what there is. But right now, as an NDEP participant, you can practice in all over Canada and you can practice in New Zealand. State-wise, you have to go at a particular state, see their website about the regulatory body, and then you have to, because these things keeps on changing. But since the last time that I knew of, and it was like 2-3 years back, Minnesota, Colorado, and Washington, DC was the states, but I don't know the updated information on yet those.
Thank you. And we have another quick question from Shiradha. Which university in Canada don't require AFK score? Dr. Quraishi, could you please answer this question?
I'm sorry, like I don't have information regarding that. Maybe Dr. Zoeb might like, for some kind of like share his knowledge about it.
Okay.
Yeah, as far as I know, like University of Toronto has obsoleted this AFK scores. So University of Toronto for sure don't require. And I guess, I don't know, I'm not sure about like Dalhousie or Western Ontario. they might be the one, but I'm 100% sure about University of Toronto. They don't require AFK score now. But what you can do is you can always go to the website because they are, like I said, 80 school in all over Canada, 2 in Ontario, University of Western Ontario and University of Toronto. You can always go and look on their website. But I know if you are looking for Alberta, University of Alberta still require you to do AFK score. Right now, what I can recall is University of Toronto is the one that do not require it, but you can always go to their website and have the updated information.
Thank you so much. The last question we have related to anonymous attendee. The process is the same for every province like BC?
Yeah, like if you are, like I said, all over Canada, pretty much if whether you are living in Toronto or you are living in Northern Territories or you are living in Alberta, it doesn't matter. The process is pretty much same. So if you are in Canada,
one thing I would like to add in it, like, you need to complete the NDB equivalency. And then if you want to practice in any province, you have to send all the documents to them, and then they will register you as a dentist, and you need to pay their license fee. There are some dentists in Canada who have the licenses, who has the licenses from couple of provinces, or especially those who have the multiple practices in different cities of the different provinces. So they keep the both licenses are few licenses. So, but you have to fulfill their requirements of sending documents, and plus paying their fees for it as well.
Thank you for answering. Actually, I have another question. It just show up. It is related to, just give me a second. Some of them ask about how they can practice it here, and you already answered this question about during the lecture. Okay, is joining the dental accelerated program of university better practice wise?
So I think we can both reply to this. It's not like, that which program is better, like either the equivalency or the the licensing, direct licensing, because it depends on experience. Like I had a 15 years experience, honestly. Like I didn't need much of going to the dental school. Ideally, my purpose was just to get the license and to practice. So it depends. If someone is like a kind of fresh graduate, like having less experience, maybe, but it's like you need to have the license to practice. So either you go in that way or in this way. It depends on your own skills, abilities, and experiences. So you can't say this thing is better and that thing is better, or this thing is not better and that thing is so there's no comparing. It depends. It is totally depending on individual itself. Yeah.
We have another question. Can you also shed some light on challenges after getting license? It's an important question, actually.
So who do you want to reply? Me or Dr. Zev?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so see, we didn't feel any challenges. The only challenges was for us, because we practice back home, and there the patient pays out of pocket. There's no insurance system. So this is just a little bit difference. But honestly speaking, if you have a little bit experienced assistant, they can put all the codes and everything, whatever you are doing. And with the time of the practice, after a few months, you remember all those codes. So it's not a big deal that you have many challenges. I don't see the other things in generally, talking, being an immigrant in any field, you have a little bit language barrier, you have a little bit cultural barrier. So more you practice, more you are interacted with the different people, you learn more about the culture, about the language and all those things, and that help you. And honestly speaking, I would say being while taking your exams, it's better to do something like, so that you come in across with the, like, contact with the different people. You try to, like, you will interact with the different, and you will try to learn, like, more language, more culture, and these things will make you more comfortable. Everyone is same, right? So it's not like, the challenges are basically your own skills, your own experience. So if you know your work, there shouldn't be any problem. But if you don't know your work, then definitely there will be some problems. So honestly speaking, in my own personal experience, I didn't feel any problem which I can remember and I can share with you. So I don't have anything kind of like that to say, and Dr. Zuhaib can further, like, share his experience.
Thank
Yeah,
you for
like
sharing. Dr.
yeah,
Zuhaib,
majority.
mhm.
Yeah,
did
for
you have
majority part.
did you have the same experience for Dr. Quraishi?
Majority part is same. The only thing I would add, like, there's a little bit of edge if you go a University of way, in a sense that opens your horizon of practice, because if you graduate through a accelerated program or advanced placement program, the only luxury you have is you can practice in United States, you can practice in Australia. That's the only thing. Otherwise, I feel like skill wise, like Dr. Qureshi has said, if you have experience, I feel we have an edge with the Canadian graduate, because they are afraid and reluctant to do complex procedure. And because we had some background from our country and we have this skill, we are very quickly to adjust and accommodate. So like talking about my practice, actually, at my practice, I replaced one dentist who was 30 years old, and I just only got my license 2 or 3 years back. But I was able to replace that 30-year-old dentist who worked for 30 years or retire, and I'm doing more complex procedure than him, right? And there's another graduate like from Canadian University who's like 2007 grad, and still he don't want to go into the complicated procedure. So it depends, and it varies from person to person. Like I'm not saying it's as like we have a big background from the back country, but it's still I've seen Canadian graduate who learns that, and like challenges are there. There are certain new procedure, the technology from back what we used to practice in Pakistan and here is different. So there's also a learning curve to it as well. So you learn with time. The best thing is to go into the practice, see what your deficiencies are, see what you are comfortable with, and then you can always plan where you need to improve yourself, and you can work on those, making those skills strong. Like I said, yeah, there's also a learning curve, and the beautiful thing about Canada is the diversification, and we meet people with so many different backgrounds, and there's so much to learn from each other. That thing helps.
Fabulous. And actually, you know what the amount of passing about clearing this exam or achieving this exam?
So previously, like I said, overall passing rate is very good. Like, let me explain you, it's a little bit tricky, right? So every exam they'll give you like for individual things. So let's say for the AFK, they says the passing standard is like around 50%, like roughly, I'm just giving you an estimate. For ACJ, it's like 70%. For NDCC combined, like with the people who cleared both like the skills and the clinical judgment component in one attempt, it's like 14%. But if you see individually, people who have cleared only NDCC component, like clinical component is like 30% and everything, but that's only per every attempt, right? But you have to consider people have like a 3 attempt for the AFK, 3 attempt for ACJ, and unlimited attempt for the 5-year for NDCC. If you combine as a one person, for me, like if you ask me, for every exam, it took me 2 attempts, and I'm not afraid to share this. It's all like every exam, it took me 2 attempts to do it. But I know all my friends who did it, 90% was the passing rate, whether it took 3 attempts for them, whether it was 1 attempt, but whoever like were my friend are, 90% of them already cleared it. So Speaking wise, yeah, it may take some people, it may take 3 years, some people it may take 5 years, some people may take 1.5 years, but passing that is pretty good.
Clear. Sister Nilam has the last question. She said, if our experience is less than, is there any way to polish our skills?
I think Dr. Qureshi can answer this.
Yeah, so see, it depends, like, once you have the license, you can practice. The other thing is you cannot do the experiment on patients. So you need to, like, also improve yourself with the skills, and you can polish, but you can start slowly with the simple procedure or the small procedures, which, like, are safer and depending on your abilities, and then you can proceed further. You have to continue your education, learn, take some courses, practical courses, do some work on the, like, models and these things, and then ultimately you can be, like, polished. There's no, but it depends once again on your own interest, how much interested you are in to improve your skills in any kind of, like, field of the dentistry. So it is totally up to, like, that person to person, like who's interested in what, and then you can polish. Why not? There's no problem in it. But initially, if you have less experience, if you are less experienced, and if you are not, like, confident, then start slowly, gradually, like with the simple procedure. And ultimately, when you think like you are a little bit confident with the kind of complicated procedures or complex procedure, then go ahead.
Just one thing to add on to this, yeah, I totally agree with everything. You can start slow, but you can also start for a mentorship in the beginning. There's somebody who's already practicing can mentor you along and help you with that thing, like for the first few months or a week. So what you can do is you can, like, work at some practice and do 2 or 3 days. And then one day just you can only do and mentor your dentist, principal dentist, who are you working for. So whatever challenges that you are feeling on those 3 days, then you can, the third day, you can go and observe how he's doing, learn about the flow of the system, how he's doing thing. And then you can ask him, like, after he's done with the patient, about your problem, so he can guide you. And then you go back onto the patient. That helps a lot. The mentorship work a long way along.
Thank you so much. Actually, you already answered the whole question. Thank you, Dr. Qureshi, and thank you, Dr. Zohaibuddin. Dr. Saad Yassin, thank you for coming today to attend us. It was very interesting to hear about your experience, Dr. Qureshi and Dr. Zohaibuddin, to show us and give us a close look to know how international dentists can practice it in Canada. Thank you for all of you so much for sharing your time and your experience with us. We all agree that this lecture is very important because most of the dentists or international students that come here, they didn't know where they can start and what they can do before because they didn't have a good guide and they didn't have experience before. Thank you so much for listening for us and everyone who attending us today. Thank you so much.